there's this woman named Chanel who she emailed, and we were talking about this. And apparently during a best of segment, we were talking about injuries in that region as well. And so she got me up. She hit me up on the two guys named Chris Messenger.
Oh, that's the one-way thing? The one-way, what do they call it, format?
We can't reply.
Yeah.
And she goes, I have a fantastic story for you that I want to tell about injuring someone's manhood.
And you would love to write back. Tell me.
Right, tell me more. But I just had to sit and wait, and I couldn't tell her. And
tell me more.
She kept on saying, I got a great story for you. I was like, come on.
Tell it.
I couldn't tell. Finally.
It's a great platform we bought. Now, this is going to be one way.
It's one-way messaging. She says, a lot of people ask me, too, this is the same thing, ask me about my ED procedure.
I know you get asked a lot about
that. Does it really work? How does it work? But I can't reply to them. So I'm just like, it does, it works, but nothing, I can't say anything back to them. It's very frustrating. So finally, Chanel came through with a story. And we talked about bent carrot 3 weeks ago.
Correct.
I just got her story.
And Chanel.
It's kind of a combo because in the best of segment, there was a story about injuring your partner while in the bedroom, which is different than bent carrot.
Right, but I think we talked about because if a man has that,
that's right. Are
you more at risk for self-injury or injuring your partner?
That's exactly right. So Chanel says, here's the story. Now it's a long email, but it's worth it. I mean, it's one of the, you're going to wince as a man when you hear this.
Gather the kids around the radio.
All right, here we go. Chanel said, this makes me uncomfortable. Dated a guy for about 10 years, and this happened 7 years ago, but we're not together anymore.
10 years?
10 years they dated.
Dating?
Wow. This happened 7 years ago. They're not together anymore.
That's common law in a number of states.
That's true. Depends on where she lives.
Together.
That's right.
If they live together.
She goes, we were in the middle of the act. I was on top. I did my flip move.
She's on top. Did a flip.
She goes, I did my flip move.
I don't.
All right. Okay. She said, I missed. And it was immediately painful for him. So I jumped off. And he got up and started dancing around in the dark for about 5 minutes.
Springsteen.
At first, he was in tremendous pain. But after about 5 minutes, he said, starting to ease up. Let's get back at it.
Okay.
We'll get back at it.
Back at it, he said, yeah. Well, I looked down at him, and I said, baby, your genitals are turning very, very dark black. And she said, this is a real problem.
Is he a white?
He's well.
In case you hadn't noticed.
We'll
see
learn
what
that.
happens.
Actually, we'll learn that later.
All right.
That does
all
come
will
up.
be
Don't
revealed
jump
later.
ahead.
Okay. Easy now. Let's not jump ahead.
See what happens when you assume?
That's right.
It's like reading the last page of a book.
Yeah. Can't do that. She says, everything was turning very dark black. And I said, baby, we better hold up. So he says, all right, but I don't feel like I need to go to the hospital. I told him we need to go to the emergency room. He said, no, let's go to sleep and we'll see what it's like in the morning.
That's the last place a guy wants to go.
Of course.
To the hospital.
Of course.
With an injury.
Exactly right.
Maybe that in butt.
Yeah.
1 and 2, 1 and 1A.
Awful. I'm awful. I mean, I know myself from my PRI issues.
The last thing you want to talk to a doctor about is your backside or your junk.
Your junk. So they go to sleep. You're exactly right. He doesn't want to go to the hospital, obviously. Okay, where am I? Here we go. We wake up the next morning. Chris, I kid you not, his balls were the size of a cantaloupe, and everything was deep, dark black, and he is a white. Okay, so there's
okay.
All right.
Now, why are the testicles swollen?
I don't know. That's a good question, but she said they were swollen to the size of a cantaloupe, and everything was black. She says he was purple and black all the way from the top of his butt crack down around to the top of his groin and everything in between. The only thing that remained white was the very tip of his wiener. That is a literal quote from Chanel.
Is that blood?
Yes.
It is.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's trauma, but it's not going. It's
gathering
inside
somewhere.
Exactly.
Right. He says, I don't want to go to the hospital.
Typical man.
That's typical. That's typical man. Anyway, he had a hair appointment that day, and the hairdresser...
Waxing?
The hairdresser was a good friend of ours, and I called her, and I said, can you come to the house instead of having us come there because he's injured? She said she would, so she came over. He had such difficulty even getting into the chair to get his hair cut. He could barely move. He was wincing the entire time. And I said to him, we need to go to the hospital. He said, I am not going to the hospital. He refused. Around 6 o'clock, I convinced his brother to come over and take a look. Okay?
That's not a call you want to take.
He does not want to come over.
Hey, Don. Yeah. Oh, good.
You ever heard of the flip move?
I'm really good at it usually.
I missed.
Yeah.
She missed her flip.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem.
He's black and blue.
She didn't get the landings, what they said.
That's right.
Did not stick it.
She missed the landing. Right. Okay, the brother is now over. Well, his brother took one look at that and said, we have got to go to the hospital. We have got to go to the hospital. Now, we finally convinced him to go at about 7:30. We are in Stanley County. They took one look at it and said, get him to Charlotte.
Get to the chopper.
Get it in here.
The nurse said to me, we can't treat this. We're Stanley County.
Wow. Yikes.
Stuff like that don't happen in Stanley.
Get him to Charlotte. We get to Charlotte. While we were in the hospital there, I kid you not, 15 nurses came into that room to see what was going on because they had heard the buzz all through the hallways. What she says.
That's cruel.
All through the hallways. The next morning, they did surgery on him. The way they do that surgery to repair a broken dong is fascinating. They literally skin the whole thing, pull it out, suture it back together, get it right, and put it back. They told him it may never work right again. This is her words now. She said that
I felt bad breaking up with him.
I think we see why it capped itself at 10 years.
Yeah, we got 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
But the girl's got to do what a girl's got to do.
She wants a complete man.
She said, I was devastated. I did not want to be responsible for breaking any man's dong permanently. And there I was because I missed that flip move. In the end, after the surgery, everything turned out okay.
How long was recovery?
It was all right. She said he went through a 3-month recovery until everything went exactly right. And we talked about it for, a year after. That's a $28,000 story that we got out of that. It cost $28,000. Good gracious. Can you imagine?
That's massive trauma.
I guess. Now, that's a bad injury. We were talking about injuries and that kind of thing.
But I guess he was straight. He was not a bent carrot.
No, he was regular.
Before or after?
No, she did not mention that. But I guess the talk of it reminded her of that story.
Because we have learned, over the course of talking about bent carrot, that sometimes it's scar tissue in the organ.
That's right.
That can cause the curvature.
That's right. And now she's not with him
anymore.
He may have
scar tissue.
He may now, but she's not with him anymore.
She don't know.
So she doesn't know if he's got bent carrot or not. Isn't that crazy? What a story.
If he had it before, they could have fixed it when they went in there. I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been too traumatized at that point.
I was so uncomfortable reading that. You talking about puckering. I was reading that whole thing going, good gracious. There's another story, too. And I
felt bad taking up with his brother.
Don.
But there aren't that many men in Stanley County.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I thought, well, I knew it. He was there in the hospital, the waiting room.
He's still in my life. But not like that.
Could you stare at your own brother's dong?
No.
That's a tough one.
How do you say that?
Two different women tell you you've got to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Finally, a dude goes, you better go.
That's not a want to go kind of thing.
You have to go.
Yeah.
They told him if he hadn't come in, the consequences would be dire. I get it. They pushed it right to the limit there.
What happens? Hemorrhaging? I mean, you bleed inside.
You're bleeding inside.
You have internal bleeding.
That was it. Yeah, you could probably wind up dying from internal bleeding.
They have to cut it off.
They might. I mean, yeah, because it's black and blue.
It goes bad.
The whole thing, yeah.